What I recommend to people that they do is write down, so give themselves like 1 hour and write down 10 video ideas, which to a lot of people seems like too many. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't even think of one video idea right now. But there is this psychological phenomenon wherein if you set an expectation that's way higher than you think you're capable of achieving, you'll rise to it, or at minimum, you'll clear the bar that you thought you had. So take an hour, write down 10 video ideas. That might only take 1 minute. Write a bunch of ideas down, and then you can take that list and start to cross-reference with some things to check the validity. So ChatGPT is honestly a great tool for this kind of thing because it's all language model processing. Its whole deal is to process meta trends and data. Honestly, I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer as long as what you're doing is resulting in really good content. Like at the end of the day, you can have metadata so lined up and tweaked, you can have a marketing budget, but if your video is boring or just bad, people won't watch it no matter what.
Hi guys, please don't forget to subscribe if you didn't do it so far. You can check my YouTube channel, my Udemy courses, my Amazon store. Let's take a look. So this is my YouTube. If you're not subscribed so far, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. You can like, comment, and share. And you can see here my courses on Udemy, my Amazon store, and you can watch all the other videos you like. And here, if you go on Udemy, you can see some of the courses I have here, the complete course on top 41 legit ideas to make money today, ultimate Amazon leadership principle masterclass, a brief beginner's guide to gaming, a brief introduction about America, a great course, starting a business in America as a foreigner. That's a great course with a partnership with Augusta Massey, and Solar System 101 course for all level. This is one of the latest course I have, one of the highest rated course on Udemy. Don't forget to check it out. So this is a snapshot of the Solar System course, just the introduction. You can take a look here. And I started with a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson, also ended this introduction with that quote. You can also check my Amazon store at amazon.com/shop/online-school. These are some of the Amazon product I use and or I can recommend some top pick products. For example, you can see here, this is a list of products I use in producing online campus school videos. Some headphones, microphone, USB, lightning, green screen, laptops, a lot of small equipment that I use. Laptop stand, that's very good for the cooling of your laptop. Anyway, just link in the description. Don't forget to check it out. All right, back to the video. Hi, Paul. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about how to build a very successful YouTube channel. You are a YouTube guru, a great video editor, a top freelancer today in the world. But before we get to that, hope people can watch until the end to get those tips. Please tell everybody about you.
Hey, MD, thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited to chat shop with you a little bit and kind of unpack some of the freelance world together. Yeah, a little bit about me. Like you said, I do predominantly YouTube and video editing work. So this is a whole span of clients from nonprofits to musicians to local businesses in Indianapolis where I live. And it kind of spans the whole board. I initially got into video editing because I play drums in a couple of bands and we were looking to basically just save money on music videos. So I sort of figured out how to shoot and edit in rudimentary terms to make those music videos happen, and then just sort of progress my skills from there and talked with some other musicians local to my area and did some videos around town. And before you knew it, that kind of led to Upwork and led to starting a couple agencies, one on Upwork and then one called SocialFlip, which I have a business partner together with here in Indianapolis. And that's sort of a lot of our day-to-day on-location shooting. Yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Wow, that's great. You went from playing music, you're looking for video editor, to becoming the editor yourself. That's really great. So your company, SocialFlip, can you share a little bit about it, what you guys do?
Totally. So when I started working on YouTube, this is when I was in college, I noticed a lot of times companies, especially smaller businesses, did not have really strong online profiles. Even if they had a great service or they were highly, highly recommended by everybody who ever worked with them, oftentimes their websites were really poor or their YouTube SEO work was really bad. So people just had a hard time finding them. And as you know, if you're not on the front page of Google, it's really difficult for people to actually get connected with you online.
Yep.
So what we set out to do is what we called SocialFlip, and we approached it like house flipping. So, everybody's familiar with house flipping or house hacking, where people will purchase a home that's a little dilapidated, do some improvements, give it a facelift, and then turn around, flip it, and sell it. So we were doing that for people, but we said, we want to treat your web presence like it's a home. And if you are going to invite a customer into your home, for example, to convince them that they should be doing business with you, your house needs to look great. You don't want to invite people into a messy home that's really outdated and looks terrible. So that was sort of our bridge into working with a lot of local Indianapolis businesses and NGOs. And yeah, that's kind of the trajectory that we've been on since. We've expanded from just doing YouTube SEO work to doing headshots, doing full-fledged video productions, doing social media oriented, different posting and production services. So it's really kind of a widespread, but SocialFlip is the hub for a lot of the services that we offer.
That's a great concept, going from how flipping homes to putting it on the digital world, SocialFlip. That's a great mission.
Yeah, it's something I think also that our demographic connected with, because we mostly service businesses that are owned by people from the baby boomer generation who didn't grow up with technology, so it's not as second nature to them. And it kind of reframes it in a way that is a little more intuitive and they can see the value. Sometimes it can be difficult to say, oh, you need a new website. Yes. And then, a business might be like, well, why do I need that? I've got one that works just fine, blah, blah, blah. But putting it in these terms, I think, has helped some of our clients to understand the goal of it is not just to have a functional website. It's to have a beautiful website that convinces people that you're professional and that you're worth doing business with.
And you guys also help with building the website, doing the SEO, the videos, right?
We do. Yeah. Most of our website development is just on Squarespace on that particular platform, but we do some WordPress and things of that nature. But a lot of our strategy is built around content development. So storytelling through video, getting excellent pictures put onto websites, all these little things that when they combine, they create a beautiful digital footprint holistically.
Wow, that's great. Wix or Squarespace? Which one is you think is better?
You can do more with Wix, but I think Squarespace is better for most people, unless you need some really specific application. If you're looking at starting a website, I'd say go with Squarespace. They probably have a template for your exact business that someone has already made look spectacular, and you can, start at 80% done and just sort of nudge it over the finish line.
Yeah, I saw their ads online. They're becoming very popular. Wix also, they do a lot of marketing. But Squarespace recently, a lot of people are building a website on their platform. I'm like,
Yeah, it's really easy. And they kind of put the SEO tools right in the hands of the small business owners. And, in a traditional web development context, you look at stuff like WordPress or even Wix to a degree, some of the SEO components are a little bit hidden. So things like, if you see a photograph on your homepage, you can name the photo something, and that factors into your SEO metadata. And there are all these like little sort of things that people do that it's known that they impact SEO, but Squarespace, it'll upfront tell you like, hey, here's where you should enter tags. You should describe this photo more. It'll help with your discoverability. Wow. They don't hide it behind a curtain like a lot of places do.
That's really awesome. The SEO part, yeah, that's everything.
It's important.
It's the main thing. If you build a website that no one gonna see, what's right?
Right.
SEO. Wow. Okay, let's get into YouTube. You call yourself YouTube guru. There's a lot of experience in YouTube. In 2023, how can someone start a successful YouTube channel, or for someone already have their channel, how can they develop that?
That's a great question. It's a super important question too, because YouTube is so popular as a platform now, and there's so many people that have business models that revolve around a YouTube channel, which is very different to 10 years ago. So in 2023, I think it's important for people to have a good identity on the metric for success that they have for YouTube. So, for example, if you own a dry cleaning company, you probably don't, success for you is not a viral video. Like
Yes.
that can be useful for businesses. Sometimes it helps as a sort of guerrilla marketing tactic. But realistically, you want, there's probably 500 people in your city that you want them to see what your process is like, what your staff members are like, what your facility looks like. You're really targeting your content pieces to a specific segment. So I think a lot of people get it twisted around and they think, oh, to have a successful YouTube channel, I need like 100,000 subscribers or whatever. But that's not true. A successful YouTube channel in my head means that it is connecting your product or service to the people who want to learn more about it. So with that in mind, I think in 2023, more than ever, your content needs to be truly transparently you. You don't need to say things that you think people want to hear. You don't need to say things that other companies are doing and try to copy them. Your goal is to be memorable and to be transparent to your potential customers. If you're a business owner using YouTube, like use that to express your personality, use that to show people what your facilities look like or what your products look like. Use them for customer testimonials. Those are all sort of evergreen content pieces that no matter what industry you're in, they work and they're never going to stop working. There's no expiration date on those.
I like your example of the businesses because a lot of people, they are not content creator, they are not YouTubers like me. So you're not looking for, to get viral videos, you're not looking to get many views. I was just doing a quick math here. You have someone who has a business, he's just trying to get 500 customers. And if each of these customers are spending $100, that's $50,000, right? Let's say
Exactly. Yeah.
you get 500 people in your city or state as customer paying you a monthly or something like that, $100. That's already a great revenue.
That's
And
so true. Yeah,
yeah,
it's an overlooked facet of business as well. I wish I could remember the author, but there's a piece called 1000 True Fans. I'll have to look this up at some point, but it basically is saying exactly what you're saying. And that is, it's way more important to have 1,000 people that really deeply care about whatever it is you do. If you're a musician, they care about your songs. If you're an author, they care about your writing. Or a businessman, they care about, your food, your service, whatever business you're in. That 1,000 people is all you need and more. You don't need to worry about reaching 20,000, 100,000 people if, like you're saying, if each of them is paying you $100 a month, that's, you don't have to look any further than that.
yeah, that's so good. It's so good that I like what you're doing. Like you're really targeting businesses, small businesses for YouTube. That's really a niche, because I don't think a lot of people are seeing what you're seeing, instead of saying, hey, maybe you can also do that. You can start, build your own channel, try to do that. But at the same time, you're helping small businesses, give them exposure. And those small businesses, they don't need to be viral. They just need to find those customers using SEO who can be those loyal customers. And that's it. And the business is running.
That's exactly right. That's something my business partner and I talk to a lot of our clients or our leads about is we call that defensive social media. So your goal, like you're saying, it's, you're not trying to have a video go viral or do something that's going to get a ton of eyeballs on it necessarily. What you do want is a defensive line. So if somebody Googles your business, they can see you're on par or better than your peers. You have your product or your service in a way that they can see it, they can understand it. And, it's the same purpose as a lot of websites serve for small businesses. You're not giving reports to somebody on how many monthly active users you have on your website. If the goal of the website is like, hey, I want more people to sign up for hair appointments, in a way of thinking, you can only handle so much traffic. So it's not finding as much traffic as possible. It's finding the right traffic.
Yeah, that's really important what you're saying. And for YouTubers out there, we have a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people are starting their own channel, and even they're asking question to high school student. They say, hey, what you want to do when you grow up? A lot of them are saying, hey, I want to be a YouTuber now. That's a new thing. Like 10 years ago, no one was talking about it. But what advice
Yeah.
do you have for YouTubers to grow their channel? People who are really trying like to be viral, to get views, to
Mm.
grow?
To grow a channel effectively, you need to hit a sweet spot when it comes to content decision making. So on the one hand, you could go to YouTube's trending page and you can say, oh, like prank videos are really popular, or like, boxing content is doing well. And you can try to cater to that. But a lot of times what that does is that just makes your content look very dated very quickly, because next month when, whatever meme or, whatever the flavor of the day is has changed, your content doesn't stand out and it's forgettable. So I think finding something that's popular or that has a strong niche following. So, if you're a gamer, maybe it's finding a specific game that has a really hardcore fan base, but there aren't a lot of streamers that play it, or there aren't a lot of content creators that are addressing it. So finding something that you enjoy, because it is a passion project. Like, better than most people, it's a lot of work to create a YouTube channel, to maintain it, to edit videos. There's so many roles. Like, you're doing the work of an entire production company as one man. So you really have to love what it is you're doing, even if you don't end up getting any videos that have more than 1,000 views or anything ever. Like, you need to love what you're doing, and then it'll still be successful. But once you find something that you love, find a community that connects with what you love. So gaming is a very popular thing on YouTube, but it's a good case study. So if you're a gamer, you're going to have a really hard time breaking into like the League of Legends niche, because there are literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of content creators that are streaming it, uploading highlight clips. There's like a whole secondary market for people that watch pro tournaments, download them, clip out the best parts or whatever. So that might not be the place you want to start. You might want to start on, see if you can find a game that you enjoyed growing up, that some other people enjoyed, but isn't really a hot button issue, or is not like at the top of everybody's mind right now, and see if you can go around and find that audience. So this is where things like TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that come in, is you can then take your ideas, take portions of your videos, kind of launch them out there using hashtags, using collaborators or collaboration with other content creators, comments and everything like that. You can sort of start to pull people in to see at least what you're creating and presenting. And then that allows you to sort of get a read on if people connect with it. And if people come and they watch your videos and you see your average view time is 5 seconds, it's like, well, they clicked on this and decided it wasn't for them. And that either means they were misled, like I used the wrong tags, or the headline, the title that I used was misleading, or it just means like, my content could be improved. So that kind of gives you like a starting place. And if you keep chipping away at making better content, practicing editing, looking at creators that are successful, seeing what is it that they're doing that's successful, what is my version of that, I think that's a pretty tried and true cycle that you can sort of go through. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it is about finding your own voice and finding where it is that you uniquely sit in the whole industry that is YouTube now.
You said it very well. Find a passion like gaming and then build on that. Like you said, it's very competitive right now. It's an industry itself. It used to be, you upload a couple videos, you go viral. Now it's very hard to do that because the algorithm is kind of a little bit different now. They try to recommend you different things. But you said some point that I really like. When doing some short videos, TikTok videos, because the good thing about those videos, I think they are part of the marketing. If you are a YouTuber now or you're just getting started, those videos, they're 30-second, 60-second videos, they get more views than the long format. So they kind of help you market your channel, and then hopefully some of those people can convert, go watch your long videos.
Absolutely. This happened to me yesterday. I saw a TikTok of a guy who was playing a city building simulator, and the video was something to the effect of like, I'm trying to stop a tidal wave from hitting my simulated city. And so he was an engineer and he was trying all different designs, and I saw the TikTok of his like, I'm just going to watch this whole video. And I watched this 20-minute video of, it's like, I would have never searched that in the YouTube search bar ever, but I found it due to that sort of marketing. Those are great tools, and you have to use every tool that's available that other people have access to. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind by the people that are putting in harder work.
Yeah. Also, the collaboration, doing collab, that's really a good point you mentioned. It's hard to find, because YouTubers are so busy. Like you said, as a YouTuber, you do everything, you do your script, at least when you're getting started before you start hiring people. So even doing collab, all of both of you are very busy. You have your schedule, your videos you want to put out. So it's hard to find there's a lot of scheduling conflict, but if you can get through that, find some successful YouTubers, even people getting started to do collaborations, I think someone getting started, that's a way to go, because sometimes it can be even more powerful than doing SEO or even paid ads, because those people you're doing collab, they already have a fan base, they're already established, and you just need to find a good pitch to see why they're gonna collab with you, what you bring, what you're gonna bring them.
Yeah, exactly. And your selection also has to be smart because, like you said, there are plenty of YouTubers that are way too busy or way too popular to even respond to emails or however you contact them.
Yeah.
But so here's actually a good parallel between the music world and the video production world, because this is something that my bands will do, is get featured artists on songs of, bands that we enjoy listening to. In a way that we have kind of found that you can scale a bit of a ladder is we'll find the biggest band imaginable in a certain genre that we like. So if you're a pop band, then you search like Post Malone or Dua Lipa or whatever, and you like start with the biggest and then click on them and look at related artists, and all those related ones are going to be still big but maybe 10% smaller. You just keep clicking down the related artist tree until you get to somebody. It's like, oh, okay, he's got 10,000 monthly listeners instead of 10 million, and then so that's somebody you can reach out to.
Wow.
And if it goes well, great. And you have way higher likelihood of hearing back from somebody and them actually participating at that level. Once you get somebody who's that size, you can turn around to the guy that has 40,000 monthly listeners and be like, hey, we just collabed with this guy, he's got 10,000 listeners. You can sort of use that as like a stepping stone method. And it's the same with YouTube. You can see related channels. You can sort by all sorts of different criteria and using the filter on the YouTube search channel. So, find something that got uploaded in the last 24 hours, and maybe it's an unknown channel, maybe it's whatever. But if the person is producing good content, and if the people in the comment section seem to like really, enjoy and appreciate what they're doing, that's a great partner. And you can kind of use that to combine your audiences and sort of both succeed together.
Wow, that's such a great advice. I like that tree. There's no way, you can reach out to the top. But if you keep going down, someone who has 10 million subscribers, like you said, he's in another level. But if you keep going down, you're gonna find someone at your level, and hopefully, it's more easier. And then you build on that. You reach out to the next person. Hey, I did this video. Would you like to collab? Also, they're gonna take you more seriously. Because if they see some of your previous videos, they're gonna say, okay, at least he's trying something. He's not just wasting my time.
Yeah, dude, exactly. It's like, it's how you climb a tree in real life. You climb it starting with the lowest branch, and then you move to it. Nobody tries to climb a tree by jumping all the way to the top. It's, it just can't happen. So yeah, using each level of branch, you stand on that when you reach for the next one, and people tend to respond to that.
Yeah, that's such a good advice. Like, because it's very hard to start a YouTube channel right now, and then unless you have a lot of marketing budget, a lot of people don't have that money to do a lot of SEOs, a lot of paid ads. And also, it's not just about the money, because these algorithms, these paid ads, if you don't pay attention, the more you pay them, the more they suck up your money. So you have to be smart.
Yeah.
Even if you have a budget, you need to do some A/B testing to see what works, what doesn't work, right? Because it's an art. It's like marketing is like
it really is. Yeah. And even a lot of the major multi-billion-dollar corporate brands that are, they say, all right, we're going to throw $50 million at a YouTube channel. Let's get it going. That doesn't always,
it doesn't always
work. Yep. Yeah. If the video is bad and if people can see that it's clearly just an advertisement, they don't connect with it. And it's really, you can't spend through that. You can't just like brute force it anymore. I think, in the 50s and 60s, That's all there was. Is just as many times as we can get them to see our name on TV or on a billboard or whatever, then each of those is a good interaction. But now it's so much more dynamic, and it's a vector. Every time somebody encounters your name, is it in a good way or is it not? Because there is bad publicity now. Brands all the time, brands make mistakes, or they launch ad campaigns that people don't like, and it just hurts them. So money alone is not enough.
That's true. And working with the creators, that's really interesting. And also looking at some successful creators. That one is very hard to do because sometimes you even need to know a little bit about video editing, even to understand what they're doing, how they put in the frames, how many frames per second is going in, because it's so fast. If you look at YouTubers like Mr. Beast or PewDiePie, it's very hard to copy their videos because it's just very high level production. But
yes,
in the podcast world, I personally look at a lot of podcasters like Joe Rogan, like Lex Friedman. There's a great YouTube channel called Colin and Samir. They always interview creators. So I try to get inspiration sometimes because especially how they're doing the thumbnails and all of that. If you look at my channel, you're gonna see some similar stuff that I'm still working on. It's still a work in progress, but what is good about YouTube is every year you keep being better if you're working hard, So if you look at my first videos, was like animation, very bad videos 2 years ago, and I'm doing voiceover on top of them talking. I still keep those videos because they remind me where I came from,
Yeah, it's important. Yeah.
They're still in the channel, and then if you look at 2023, it's more, having Paul in the channel, talking to, it's a good journey. But that idea of looking at what other people are doing, that is a very valuable lesson.
I agree. It's also really interesting. You bring up a good point about production value and how it kind of sits on a gradient. So you have people like Mr. Beast, who literally has more production power than a movie studio in some cases.
Yep.
They were saying his Squid Games knockoff received more views than the original, which is crazy.
Yep.
You've got that, and then you've got, like you're saying, Joe Rogan, which, yes, they have some decent microphones. Yes, they're using DSLR cameras, but really it's, 2 cameras, 2 microphones.
Exactly.
That whole setup costs less than $1,000.
Exactly. Yep.
So you can find success points at each step of the spectrum.
Yep. And what also, because when I started doing podcasting, is also depend on what you love, right? Like you said, if you're a gamer, you like doing gaming. For me, it's like my background is mostly doing educational content or talking to people. So the podcast format, the long format, actually match my personality, is what makes me happy. Is also a learning for me. If you sit down with someone for 1 hour, it's like reading a book. You learn a lot, and that stays in your head. Because sometimes when I'm talking with my friend, they say, "Hey, where do you learn all of these things?" I speak to a lot of people,
You're like Wikipedia with a cyborg man.
Exactly. The more you speak with people, and especially people you're interested in what they're doing, you learn. And also the podcasting is very interesting because it's similar to what we talked about in the beginning. Having those core fans, you don't need really to be viral, but if you have 500 people, 1,000 people, 10,000, they really like what you're doing, that's really enough, because the content is long format enough. You really don't need those 10-15 minute video making 10 million views. It's so it's kind of a niche thing. It's very interesting because a lot of people, like you said, Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman, a lot of big podcasters out there, everybody was like, who's going to sit down for 2 hours listening to them? Who's going to sit down for someone talking for 3 hours? Look where we are today. It's like big surprise. You still have some people who are interested in learning. There's a guy who has a YouTube channel called Bro Code. He only do coding, and he put all those coding for free in YouTube. He do Java, SQL, all the coding, and he has like millions of views. It's like a school online, and instead of paying, for Java class, doing a software engineer class, you can just go watch that on YouTube for free. And you figure out it's a lot of millions of people want to learn that,
It's so true, man. Yeah, it's really, what looks like a small niche because, let's say if let's say like 300 people in real life that you talk to, which is way more than most people do. Maybe two of them are interested in coding, but you factor that out to the global population, and that's a huge amount of people. 1% of the global population is a huge amount of people. So yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. If you can find something that you love and you're passionate about, and you start to attract like-minded people, there's so much potential in that. And it really is, the first 500 people that you attract to your business or your website or your channel, that's the hardest 500 by a mile. It only gets easier because you get extra validity from link building and from all the SEO metrics. And there are all that many more share points now. Each of those people have seen your description and they might share you on Twitter, or they might send the video to a friend. So it truly is, a crawl at first for pretty much any creative thing that you do. But if you love it, it just keeps getting easier the more that you do it.
Yes, that's such important love in YouTube, because I don't know, a lot of jobs are hard, but YouTube also, a lot of people don't know how hard it is. But if you're doing it for the money, you're not going to make it.
You're about 20 years too late.
Exactly. You're just late. Like, you're going to be doing it for 1-2 years for the most part, the first year, without making no money, unless you get lucky getting some viral stuff, or maybe you have some marketing budget, or maybe you have some experience, like someone maybe like you already know how YouTube works. Because like YouTube is kind of, even content creation is a skill itself. It's a skill, to make a video, to promote that video, to put the thumbnail,
totally,
use topic. It's like, so it's something that you have to love, that you're doing permanently. I made a video on my channel talking about how I went from 0 to 10,000 subscribers. So when you start doing your videos, even sometimes you're like, okay, I have 100 friends. Like, your friends, your first months, they even don't watch your videos. You have families, sometimes they even don't watch it. No one take you seriously. They're like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Go find a job. Or what? You say, hey, this is a job, No.
Right.
So even I was talking to someone who has a YouTube channel, like animation for kids. Like, I send it to my family, they don't watch my videos. I like, yeah, that's how it is. And now when it goes up to 5,000, 10,000, they start coming by, say, hey, you're going up. What's going on? It's so interesting to see how things goes,
That's so true, man. I mean, yeah, it's very true of the YouTube world. It's true of music as well, where you release a song or two and it's like you can ask your friends to listen to it, but really it's almost more effective for them to like hear about it than it is to hear it directly, because you don't want to be the guy who's like, hey bro, can you please check out my song, I promise it's good. It's like, the best case scenario is he has a friend who recommends it to them that doesn't know you, and then all of a sudden, whoa, it's real for for those people. But it is sort of funny how it's not a job until it's the best job, and those are like the two ways that people see it, is either it's not a real job or it's like the best dream job imaginable.
Also, that's so true. Like, if you they talk to someone and say, hey, can you check this channel? Like, oh, I know that guy. Then they start talking to you. And
right.
Another value that some people don't see, it's not just a monetary value, it's building an audience. The audience is the value. The money is just an exchange of that audience you have. But let's say in the world we live today, we live with a lot of technology. You don't know who is serious, who is not, who is who. If someone invite you on LinkedIn or YouTube or in Facebook, wherever, he has 0 posts, 0 followers, you're not going to respond. You're like, this is scam, right?
Right.
There's no way. But if someone reach out to you, he has 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers or 10,000 or 20. So this is going to become, I think, in the future, a way to filter you know, because as a person, because we becoming more and more digital, your digital self going to be your brand online. So it's really important to have some type of audience, some type of things you're doing. So even for people to take you seriously, to build your credibility, you know, on the digital stage.
Dude, that's so true. I mean, that's the first thing. Actually, Upwork is a great example. When brands approach on Upwork, one of the first things I do is Google the brand and see how real it is, or is it a guy that has just incorporated his LLC yesterday, and you know he's kind of pretending to be something. And it's pretty clear once you get online, you know, who's real and who's not.
Yep, exactly. And it just make a big difference. I was inviting one of the guests on my podcast. We're talking about how important is it to build an audience. That's an expert on LinkedIn. And she was telling me, hey, this example, the simple fact you invited me on your podcast, that shows how important it is. Because if you went on my LinkedIn profile, you didn't see nothing there interesting, there's no way you're going to reach out, you know.
That's super true, man. Yeah, the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
So how can someone choose a good topics for YouTube?
What I recommend to people that they do is write down, so give themselves like 1 hour and write down 10 video ideas, which to a lot of people seems like too many. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't even think of one video idea right now. But there is this psychological phenomenon wherein if you set an expectation that's way higher than you think you're capable of achieving, you'll rise to it, or at minimum, you'll clear the bar that you thought you had. So take an hour, write down 10 video ideas. That might only take 1 minute. You know, you might realize once you get a couple down, it's like, oh, I could do that, but I could do it in Antarctica, or, you know, I could do this, but I could do it with these group of people. You know, write a bunch of ideas down, and then you can take that list and start to cross-reference with some things to check the validity. So ChatGPT is honestly a great tool for this kind of thing, because it is, it's all language model processing. Its whole deal is to process meta trends and data. So, you know, let's say you're a huge model train enthusiast, you know, going to ChatGPT and saying, hey, what are 5 ideas for videos that I could make about model trains that are targeted at bringing in new viewers? Like, you might get some results you're not expecting, but you might see something that's like, oh yeah, I guess I could talk about how this company recently changed this, you know, whatever thing about their manufacturing. So don't, you know, not being afraid to use the tools that are out there. Again, that's something that I reiterate a lot to clients, is there are a lot of tools, and you know, you shouldn't ever turn away from a tool because it's not what you think you should be using. So, you know, if you don't know how to use Photoshop, but you can use Canva, use Canva to make your thumbnails. A lot of people are like weird about, oh, but you know, Photoshop is like a real design. It's all real. If it makes something, then it is a real product, you know? And yeah, talk to your friends as well. So this is an interesting point you bring about, like when you first start a channel and you're, you know, maybe you make a post on your social media pages about like, hey, I just made my first ever video, blah, blah, blah. Something you can do to sort of reinforce that on-ramp is talk to a group of your 5 closest friends and be like, hey, I'm thinking about making a video. Like, which of these is more interesting to you? And give them a couple options. And that does a couple things. A, it gives you like a genuine Gallup poll to see what people are interested in. B, when the video comes out, they're going to be like, oh, I helped with that. You know, they're at least going to watch it to see what they did, and they might share it around to people, but it builds an intrinsic interest to them. So, yeah. And then beyond that, you know, you can use things like Google keywords to figure out like what words are trending, or is it Google Trends? I can't remember what the tool's called, but there are lots of online tools that you can use to figure out what topics are popular. But again, that's something you have to do carefully, because you don't want to chase trends so hard that you lose your sort of core niche. Figure out, you know, so Barbenheimer, that whole deal, like that's really popular right now, this month. In 2 months, it'll be forgotten, you know, but is there a way, you know, whatever your channel might be about, actually for your channel, like thinking about what is the business ripple impact of Barbenheimer? Like looking forward, there's now like Saw and Paw Patrol are putting out movies on the same day. And like, has Hollywood taken the wrong message out of this? Using it as a topic of discussion for your niche and your subject of interest. If you're going to use trends and trend reporting, I think that's the way to do it. It's not simply just like, I'm going to do a review of Barbie, like unless you're a movie critique channel, I wouldn't recommend doing that.
You give a lot of sauce there. That was good. ChatGPT and AI. That's a huge topic for itself. We can talk about it for hours. But
right.
I like what you said. It's very good on brainstorming, like you said. It's an LLM, and give me an idea of this type of videos. Of course, as a human, you have to proofread it, and with your experience, you're gonna see what's more interesting. But I think people have no excuse right now. Say, hey, I don't have idea for the videos. Use the ChatGPT, use Google Bard, use all these AI tools. There's no excuse. There's no excuse.
I mean, you could literally make a video called I had ChatGPT write me a video, and you could do it. You just be like, write me a video script to be popular on YouTube, and just like document the process. There's no end to ideas right now. I mean, you can also hop on Reddit and just like pick random, there's like a shuffle button for subreddits. You can just like go through until you find something that's like, what's this? I want to learn about it and document my learning process. And, you pointed out earlier that the learning segment on YouTube is really strong, which almost flies in the face of the current wisdom, which is, it's an attention economy. We're struggling to get people to look at the whatever thing on their phone for 15 seconds, much less 2 hours. But you've got a point in that, like, finding the audience that cares about that and values that is like a huge plus. Like, especially, not that everything has to be about monetizing your brand or your audience, but like, if that is something you're interested in, and if your long-term goal is like, oh yeah, I want, my product or my channel to generate this sort of revenue, having an audience that pays attention for a long time is like the most lucrative thing when it comes to marketing. So that's
exactly.
I think you've positioned your brand really well in that you're finding people that care about learning, and they're there for the long haul. They're not subscribing to your channel because you had a silly video of somebody slipping on ice and now they forgot why they subscribed to that channel when a new video comes out.
Is the I will give him credit. It's the Joe Rogan model. Like, if everybody's starting a podcast today, it's because of him. Everybody's wake up. Like, you have people comedian like Bill Maher have his Club Random podcast. Is everybody so like, you can find those niche people, and if it's match your personality, if some people just like funny videos, prank, if that's who you are, go for it. Some people like comedy, some are musicians, music are very popular on YouTube. As long as you have that passion, so it can keep you going, you can do it every day without getting tired. But there's no excuse for creators to get started, or like you said, all these AI tools, ChatGPT, they can help a lot. And now then you're gonna need a video editor like you to help them, make sense of that. But how important is it? Do we the thumbnail, the topics? Did better like to have let's say the title first and the thumbnail, and then work on the script, or the reverse? Because that's a big debate between YouTubers. Like, some YouTubers, they just find what they want to talk about. Let's say they want to talk about AI or quantum computing, then they write about it, and in the middle of building their script, then they figure out, they do their research, like you said, keywords, Google Trends, and then they choose the title and the thumbnail at the end. But a lot of YouTubers, a lot of successful YouTubers, they start with the opposite. Okay, this is gonna be my title, this is gonna be my thumbnail, and then I'm gonna go work on the video.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer, as long as what you're doing is resulting in really good content. Like, at the end of the day, you can have metadata so lined up and tweaked, you can have a marketing budget, but if your video is boring or just bad, people won't watch it no matter what. So yeah, I think that's like two different looks at a creative brain. The one look is like, ooh, I see big picture, I see a finished product, and it goes like, we used AI to, code this thing that pumps out YouTube scripts. Like, they have a headline and they're like, we could build a video around this idea. The other way, again, it's like, you're starting, it's either top down or bottom up, and there's really not a right or wrong answer. I just legitimately the thing I see over and over again is that content is king. And whatever, try both methods. If you're sort of unsure and you're starting out, try both for the same or for a similar video and see what produces the better video. Yeah. And maybe that's like your sign to pursue one of them. But yeah, it truly ultimately just comes down to what is going to create the most engaging content. So however that takes shape.
Yeah, that's true. If someone's starting right now, you talk about gaming, AI is another hot topic. Someone can start an AI, a YouTube channel just talking about AI. You will never run out of ideas. Because it's moving so fast. Every month you have something to talk about. And
it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. But for businesses out there, why YouTube is important for them? Why is it important for them to invest on a great YouTube channel?
It's a great question. This is something that I think a lot of businesses don't fully appreciate until they see it firsthand. But predominantly, what you're doing is you're standing out in a sea of what could be super similar competitors. I'm trying, what is a great, just like vanilla, maybe you have a donut shop, right? So you local donut shop, you're not trying to sell to people in Iceland. You're not trying to sell to people in California. You are, let's say you're like a Kansas City donut shop. You just care about the population of Kansas City. There are probably, 100 other donut shops. Your advantage could come from a lot of things, but what is always going to be unique is you and your story. So there is no other donut shop that's going to have the same people, especially the same owner, and the same story about how they got to where they are. And that's a lot of my clients. This is like the guided conversation I have with them, is just asking questions to figure out, like, how did you get into this industry? Why do you love it? Because you have to love it. Again, if you're going to be doing it day in and day out, you can't get tired of it after a month, why do you love it so much? And, that personality comes through via video better than anything else. You can read, you could read all about Johnson & Johnson on Wikipedia for hours, or you could see a 30-second ad for, a diaper by J&J, and you're like, oh, I get it. I see what they did. So it's just speed of communication. It allows you to sort of choose what angle your viewer is going to see your company through. And then it's just transmitting that personality. It's the closest you can have to a direct conversation with a potential customer without actually going into their house and like shaking their hand. So I always tell business owners, it's like, treat it like this is, you have this unique opportunity to cold call, but it's someone who chose you. They're going to come listen to your pitch. You just get to introduce yourself and share your personality. And that's more important than like, oh, what kind of powdered sugar do they put on their donuts? It's like, no, if the guy, is a military vet who discovered his love for culinary arts while he was stationed in Japan, if he has a crazy backstory, it's like, that's what people care about. The stories are what keep people coming back to video content, podcast content, all of these things. It's like the storytelling is the core.
I mean, what you're doing is very important, because I saw a lot of small businesses sometimes they even don't have a YouTube channel, right? They have maybe an Instagram page. They don't see really, maybe they don't know, and they don't see the potential of YouTube. And because YouTube is a search engine itself, is the second, after Google is YouTube. People go there to search stuff.
Yes. Well, and also it's like people don't realize that. And then it's like, you think, well, it's also owned by Google. So really, like, in some ways, when they're searching Google, they're also inherently searching YouTube. So it's powerful. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. If you're searching on Google, they give you some YouTube videos, and especially these videos where you have the timeline, and then Google going to give you exactly the portion of that YouTube videos where you find it. It's amazing. It's a lot of businesses, when I try to visit their website, and then I try to see, sometimes they don't have YouTube, or even if they have a YouTube channel, they don't take it very seriously. They just put a video there, and like you said, you watch it. It's there's a lot of work to do on that front for small businesses.
It's true, man. It's like, if let's say you need a new tire and you're looking at two different places that do tires, and one of them has a video that's just like the camera raw file name, like C01158, and it's, versus a title that's like, here's how you change a Nissan 2006 tire, whatever. It's obvious, like, to the viewer, which person has put more care in, and who is like
Yeah.
really trying to reach the customer.
Yeah, that's true. And that's what one of the industry that's very good on using YouTube and digital platform is the insurance industry. You see
Mm-hmm.
how many ads they put out there, like Geico or AAA, they're really
Yeah,
very effective on using these, like YouTube and Instagram, and it makes a difference. It make a difference.
it really does. Yeah, and it's becomes an interesting case study in seeing. I play a game in my head where I'm trying to figure out who they are targeting with each of their ads. So when Geico does an ad, it's like, oh, this one's meant for millennials who are about to buy a home, oh, this one's made for like retiring baby boomers or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a reason that they are like the big names because they just really put so much into it.
Yeah, they're very effective. Like anything you know about them come from those ads. There's no one who went there and sit down and read a whole website or a whole book to learn
Right.
about it. Everything comes from those ads they put in front of you every time, and they're like, okay, let me switch to Geico or let me
It's
do
so
this.
true. It's weird too because you start to like they have like characters, like Flo from Progressive and like these people, these like yeah, I don't know, these faces that are public facing, these characters that they like try to get you familiar with and build this like emotional
Yep.
bond to.
Yeah.
It's clearly very effective, but
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah, as well. So do you plan to start your own YouTube channel, or you already have it, or you have it for your business?
So I run a few, but they're all so I do YouTube work for both of my bands. So usually if I'm making a video, it's in some way related to that. We might be doing a music video or like a playthrough video or something. And then I have a YouTube that I started with my two brothers, but it was a long time ago. We just like put a couple videos out and they like did pretty well because it was back in the glory days where you could put anything out. And as long as you like tried to edit it decently well, it would do well. But it's not really I'm way less focused on that aspect of it. I see YouTube as like a tool to help push my music career and my professional career. So I'm not particularly interested in becoming like a YouTuber proper.
Mhm.
But I just think like the skill is so valuable. It just augments everything that I'm interested in. So that's kind of how I got locked into it.
Yeah, it's good to have those multiple channels because also you did the right thing. I tell that to people also. Sometimes your first channels will never be your main channel. For the
Mm-hmm.
most part, you can start maybe 2, 3 channels. Those, if they're successful, good luck. That's great for you because you did
Yeah.
a great job. But those are study channels. Those are learning channels.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you learn by doing. The more you put it out there, then you look at the analytics. You look at what works, what didn't work, and a lot of people start multiple channels before getting it right, and then say, okay, let me now make a main channel and just do this because now I know I'm very effective on what works, what doesn't.
That's so true, man. Just like learn by doing is such an underrated piece of advice. Like even when it comes to video editing, when it comes to everything, just using your channel as a case study and
Yes.
understanding that you can make another channel. This doesn't
Yes.
have to be like representative of you and your creative capacity.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
So Upwork or freelancing in general, you are a very successful freelancer, 100% job success. I don't know how you do it, but that's very interesting. A lot of people are looking for a way to find extra income to make money. Upwork is obviously a way to make money today in the entire
Mm-hmm.
world. I really believe in the freelancing model personally, like Fiverr, Upwork, because I think it's like an equalizer. Someone can be, whenever around the world, someone can be in Asia, in Africa, and then if he's good, he can get jobs there.
Mm-hmm.
Or here in the United States, if you are good, there's no filter. It's just you and your ratings, your 5-star, and if you're good, you're good, right?
Yep.
So I think that's it's going to become more and more for the future. But how can someone make money on Upwork?
Great question. Yeah, it is a competitive market now. Couple quick notes. So they do a weighted average when it comes to job success, and I think there is like a timeline involved with it. So it's not that I've never had a client that wasn't fully satisfied, but over time, the any like negative reviews are far enough away that it doesn't reflect in the profile.
So how often they do that? Every year, every six months, or?
I don't know. It changes. It used to be, I used to know what their time frame was. I'm not sure, but I also know like they do a weighted percentage based on revenue earned. So if you do a job for somebody that's like $1,000, that's 10 times more valuable as one that does $100, or it has 10 times more rating weight.
That's great because that was really impacting freelancers. Because let's say someone, you have those people who can target you, or they're just against what you're doing, they go there and give you a bad review, and then it just gets, it changes everything. But it's good that they're trying to recycle it. That's great.
I agree. I think it was a really important change and shout out to Upwork for actually like taking people's feedback and enacting it, because this is something people had sort of been complaining about on the forums and things. But yeah, you could have one grumpy client come through and ruin years of hard work and learning and dedication. And I've had clients that are unhappy and I did exactly what they asked, and they're like, yeah, you did what I asked, but I still don't like it. Like, I don't like what I asked for. I'm like, all right. So sometimes you just truly have people that it's a bad fit for you, and that was a good move on Upwork's part to sort of delineate. But Upwork in general, there's a lot of tactics, a lot of strategy. I honestly got very fortunate in that I started on Upwork in like 2017, so I've been on the platform for a while. And it was way less competitive on the talent end back then. Now there's a lot more people that have learned about it. COVID was a huge catalyst for that. But it's still doable. There's still ways that you can make money and ways that you can stand out. Honestly, one of the biggest things that you can do to help your profile, if you're building an Upwork profile or interested in it, is just shoot a video of yourself introducing yourself and show some work. It doesn't have to be like professionally edited, although, if you want to pay the however many bucks to get it done, it's probably worth it. But they let you put a video on your profile homepage. So when people are like browsing through freelancers, they can, again, it goes back to this conversation about like, this is how you translate your personality, and you have a face-to-face with somebody that you never meet. They can see you. And so a big problem that a lot of clients run into is the people that they hire don't always speak English natively. So they have a lot of communication struggles. The people that they hire sometimes, or that they're looking at, are from like old dead accounts, or for whatever reason, it's like a sub farm where somebody's paying somebody to pay somebody to do the work. All of these problems, you can be like, hey, I'm a real person. Like, here's the studio that I work at, and like, here's a piece of work that I did for somebody. If you can show that in a video in 30 seconds, like that puts you above 90% of the people that they're scrolling by. Get a really well done headshot. You can use AI for that too. You can upload a selfie to AI and say, make me look business casual in Cabo, and it'll kick back like a beautiful profile picture. That's very useful. Do that. It really matters, because the visual, it's much like YouTube, where all you get is your title and your thumbnail, right? And in Upwork, you get your work title and you get your photo. So that has to be enough to like at least spark interest in somebody's brain. And then, building a good work portfolio is crucial. It's very opposite to how academia and the workforce works, in that, let's say you graduate with a 4-year bachelor's degree, maybe you get your master's, and then you go and you want to work for like data analytics at a company. That's awesome, and you're mostly going to be hired for like the bullet points on your resume, with like a little bit of the personal life stuff thrown in as well. But like, it's opposite on Upwork, where they're basically hiring you for who you are as a person, and they just want to see how good your work is. Because you don't have to see them at the office every day. So they, if you're a video editor, show them some videos, and specifically show them videos of what they're looking for. It's like, oh, you want a wedding edit done? Here's a wedding edit that I did. And if you don't have one, you can literally go get free stock footage and put together an edit. But yeah, building up any sort of deliverable that you can give people, that's what sells people at the end of the day. Is like, if your stuff looks good, they really don't care that much about the rest. But if you can communicate clearly, deliver on time, and have good looking stuff, that's sort of the trifecta.
Wow, that's so good, because I talked to other Upwork, successful Upwork freelancers too, but that main idea of building your profile is coming back a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was talking to someone who's a marketing specialist, and she's on my YouTube. I had an interview with her. She's like, the first time she started on Upwork, she was not getting any job. And then she went out there, she looked at her profile, she said, hey, I'm a marketing person. If I cannot sell myself, I cannot sell myself. How can
Yeah,
someone hire me to do marketing for them? And she did a lot of work on building her profile, like you said, that pictures, the title, because most people don't gonna go read all your profile. They're just gonna see pictures and couple titles and probably go down to your portfolio.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's really important. And maybe even for the Upwork algorithm, maybe it's gonna help you. Maybe Upwork is SEO to help your profile
Of
pop up.
course.
Maybe a little
Yeah.
bit. The more your
They have some of
profile
their
is complete.
yeah, totally. Yeah, they will show more complete profiles first. They also they weigh activity as well. So even if you don't have any gigs booked on Upwork, like just logging in once a day and like
Mm-hmm.
scrolling around, send people some messages, interact with the forums,
Mm-hmm.
you can prove to Upwork that I'm an active user, I'm a real person, I'm not a bot account. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all stuff that they have to worry about. So, there are ways, yeah, doing all of that is crucial to present yourself as a viable gig worker.
Yeah, because that was such a great advice, like building your profile. A lot of people just say, "Hey, I want to make money." Okay, but it's a process, right? It's
Yeah,
like trying to find a new job. You don't just go there. Hey, can you hire me? They're gonna ask you, send me your resume, right?
totally.
So
Yeah. Well, and it's easy on Upwork too, because like you could sort by highest earning. It's like go find someone who's making $400 an hour and just look at his profile. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, he had like this killer video and he has this like great graphic about, his turnaround time and blah, 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 whatever their industry is, filter by your industry, filter by like top earning. And that just literally gives you the template. You can go, and then it's up to you to really, act out that portion of it and create your profile and make it good. But yeah, like you're saying, I mean, the profile is just hands down. That's how people figure out about you and how they make their decision.
yeah. And then the portfolio, and
Mm-hmm.
what everybody wants is just someone who can get the job done. Do it.
Right.
Who can get the results. A lot of people getting started, they don't have any portfolio. Like you said, someone who, even if he's college graduate, you don't have
Mm-hmm.
a case study, you don't have a portfolio. So how can people who are new build their portfolio? Because for the most part, people just go to you guys. You guys have more experience. They say, hey, let me go to Paul. You already have
Sure.
he
Yeah.
done
No,
this 10 times.
that's a great question, man. That is an undervalued skill is building the portfolio. There's a few things you can do. One, hopefully the thing that you're doing is at least tangential to your passion area. So, if you're a video editor, you probably have made like some videos for yourself or for your friends. So start with that. Set a deadline for yourself and say, all right, the whole goal of this video that I'm about to shoot and edit is to serve as like a shining portfolio item. It's going to look incredible, and then go do it. So if you're a songwriter, write a song. If you're a coder, write like a flash game or a piece of code or something that's cool. um, so you can do stuff that you're personally passionately invested in, because that's going to come out way better than just like you know finding a random thing and slapping it together. The next thing I'd recommend is, again, go to YouTube and look up like how to make an Upwork profile or portfolio, like
Mm-hmm.
best Upwork portfolio tips and tricks. I watched a bunch of videos on that when I was like making my profile, and it's changed over time. The way to do it in 2017 is not the same as now, but a lot of the core elements are still there. And it's something people are constantly updating on YouTube. So, definitely like channels like yours also just like massively helpful to people that are getting into this industry. And like somebody who watches your videos and then goes and makes an Upwork portfolio is going to crush it compared to somebody who just kind of flies in blind and, whatever, just like gets the bare minimum in. And then if you really need, like, there's nothing wrong with selling your first bit of work for pretty cheap and just being like, hey, here's the thing. I'm new to this platform, but I'm not new to my skill set. I've had these skills for 10 years, but I've only been on this platform for 10 days. Hire me for this gig. It's going to be super cheap. I'm going to knock it out of the park. And, really all I want out of this is a 5-star review. And, I did that starting out, and it was hugely beneficial. Each of those 5-star reviews at the start is just like so important. So it's a little bit of a grind, but there is some value in that.
Yeah, that's really true. And yeah, a lot of is always a lot of feedback I'm getting from a successful freelancer is exactly what you're saying as well. Like try to, in the beginning, if you have to, you can sacrifice a little bit, maybe lower your price a little bit, and then the more reviews you get, then you can get back to where you want to be. I saw a lot of beginners, because obviously active on those platforms as well, sometimes, and a lot of beginners, they're like, when you they don't have any job yet, they're trying to get their freelancer business going on, and when you some client, they offer them the job, they offer them their budget. Here, can you do this for me, this thing? They took it very badly. They took it like insulting, like all my skills, I do animation, I do, like, let's say, video editor, Adobe After Effects, I do all of that. You're asking to pay me that? No,
Right.
but they don't see the the process behind that. You're gonna build that that relationship, and also build those get those ratings, those reviews to help you, so those big clients can discover you later on.
Exactly. Yep. And it is important to like know your market value, and to not, you don't want to be like always selling yourself short
Yes.
once you've got the base established. But again, at the beginning, it's like you can ask for $100 an hour out of the gate, but it's probably not going to work. There's not a lot of people that are going to take that leap of faith on somebody with no job history on the site.
Yep.
Maybe if you've got a killer portfolio from like other work that you've done in the industry, that can work. But yeah, ultimately the gig economy is an pretty extreme free market. So there's
Yes.
plenty of supply for talent.
Yes.
So you got to figure out, there's quantity, there's quality, there's turnaround time, but basically you're working with those 3 factors. Like, how cheap am I? How good is my product? How fast do I produce my product? And between those, you got to triangulate your value and deliver that to a client. So there's a little bit of give in each of those parameters, but ultimately, you want to be providing good value.
Right. And also, like you said, it's so competitive. Not only people sacrifice for the first roles to, say, hey, to lower, to have a little bit minimum price. But I even saw one of the YouTubers talking about that. Like, that's how he hires someone. He just reached out to them. He was a guy who's very good in thumbnail. And then he made thumbnail for him. No, he made an intro for his YouTube videos. Say, hey, I'm a very fan of you. I watch your videos all the time. I see every year you change your intro. I made this intro for you. Can you check them and see if you like it? You see how aggressive
That's
it is?
awesome.
See how aggressive. So he just made it for him. And then the guy look at it, he likes it. And then he get back to him. Yeah. And then he end up hiring that person.
That's so awesome, man.
To be part of the team.
That clever thinking is, again, it's like, if you're smart about how you do it, you can do almost anything in that field. It's truly, there's no ceiling on it, which is really exciting. You may have read this book, but The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss is like one of my all-time top recommended books. But he has a similar exercise where, instead of getting a gig or anything, his challenge is, I want you to contact a famous person, like pick a famous actor or a former US president, or like the CEO of a tech company, someone who's like impossible to get to, and then set a timer for a week and figure out a way to contact them. Like, learn who their secretary is, learn who their secretary's niece is, like, message somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and like, wow. figure out who the famous YouTuber's editor is, and like what his Instagram is. But yeah, there's always a way to connect with somebody, if you think outside the box, and if you're clever and persistent, and of course respectful. You have to respect people's privacy, but if you use information that they put out publicly, and that's a great example of, like, I already made an intro, I want you to see it because I enjoy your channel. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm letting you know that I respect what you're doing. Like, there's nobody who sees that and gets
Yes.
irritated,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That was really a very effective one. And that's one of the biggest YouTubers. His name is MKBHD. Maybe you know him.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
huge. Yeah.
he talked about it. He said, "Hey, one guy reached out to me because everybody liked reaching out to him. Say, hey, can you give me a job? Can you give me a job?" And then he shared. I say, "Hey, one of my editor here. This is how I was able to hire him, because if you're a good talent, if people you're doing good stuff, and you smart how to reach out to people, you will end up getting something."
Yep. Absolutely. I believe that. Yeah.
And yeah, so can someone do Upwork for full time? Is that how much money can someone make a month? Let's say someone live in the United States,
Yeah, yeah.
and is that something that can be done?
It can. You definitely can. I've never long-term done Upwork full time. I've always had my other companies, but it's a lot of similar work. Like, yeah, I started my companies doing the same thing I do on Upwork, just in person in my city. So, but yeah, man, I mean, you hear about people online doing like 10 to 30 grand a month on Upwork, and it's like it's very doable. It just comes down to presentation, quality of deliverable, and your value add and how fast your turnaround is. But particularly in like the marketing sphere, I think this is something for like the up and comers who are like new to the workforce, who Gen Z kids. If you can find a way to get a brand's name or product in front of an audience that cares about it, there's a huge potential. Like companies will pay obscene amounts of money. Like we are talking about with the insurance commercials, like they dump just truckloads of money into marketing avenues in the hopes of getting in front of an audience of like dedicated viewers. So it's something you see a lot with podcasts right now. You get a lot of like sponsored advertisement on podcasts because they're like, oh, I know this person's going to listen through, 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours of content. They really care about the show. And if the person that they care about is like recommending my supplement, that's a big win. So yeah, I think like the digital marketing sphere, if you can truly add some value there, there's a lot of money on the table for people who are good at it.
Yeah, making 10, 20, 30K a month, that's really impressive, because a lot of people don't make that amount of money in their full-time job.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's the top strata of Upwork. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not doing that much on Upwork, but
right.
Yeah, it exists. There's coders out there also who are commanding pretty insane premiums. So yeah, I do enjoy how level that playing field is. Like if you're a really talented individual who's willing to put in the footwork and make an effort to get in the door, it's really cool. There's a lot of potential.
So yeah, so someone out there who want to make some extra money, that's a good solution. There's no excuse. You can do YouTube, but YouTube gonna take a lot of time and love, like we said, or learn a skill, a digital skill like digital marketing, video editing, and build a great profile on Upwork. Like you said, have a profile picture, make a video presenting yourself, and then hopefully try to find some customers. And yeah, I think is possible. I think, right? I think at least a couple hundred, maybe here there months. That's
Absolutely.
Another extra income.
And once you get the ball rolling and you're making a couple hundred a month, then it's really easy to display your work history to people. And, it just, again, it gets easier and easier the more you do it. And then you get companies approaching you for work instead of sending applications or, trying to propose to all these different jobs. It's just, it becomes a downhill battle once you've got past the first couple of obstacles.
Yeah, the first jobs is hard, but how do you see the future of freelancing, Upwork, Fiverr with the age of AI? Do you think it's gonna be?
Oh man,
we're gonna need more freelancers, less? Is gonna become, what's the future looks like?
that's a super good question, man. I truly don't know. I think there's a lot of work that freelance is doing currently that can be AI done. I also think the corporate attitude has shifted to lean employment. So companies don't want to hire more full-time employees than they absolutely have to.
Yes.
The back end of that, obviously that becomes freelancing. So it's really volatile, to be honest. Like, who knows where we'll be in 3 years, 5 years? But I do think like there are some things that freelancers do that'll be overtaken, but I think it's going to become harder to get full-time employment
Yeah,
than it's going to be then the amount of gig work is going to be siphoned away, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So it might, there might be 20% of gig work that's siphoned away by AI soon. But it's probably going to be like 25 or 30% harder to get a salaried position at a company.
Yes, I agree. Especially this year, we saw a lot of layoff, and the layoff is happening with blue collar. Like, it's the top earners who's getting laid off. It's not the bottom.
Yeah, a lot of like middle management and yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
true, man. Yeah, there's like the whole for the first time too, like in the past, all the industrial revolution advancements and things were like directly impacting factory workers and the blue collar workforce. But now it's like it's a lot of white collar
yeah.
workers
White
who
collars.
they sit at an Excel sheet that can now just be automated. So yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
yeah. It'll be interesting. I predict it's gonna be more freelance work.
Hmm.
Like, they will have maybe a very main core full-time employees. Those are senior people who have a lot of experience, and then have all the junior staff's gonna maybe go to the freelancing, because you can have them hire freelancer, they can, or part-time, they can come do the job, and then if there's no work to do, you don't they don't need to just sit there the whole day, don't do
Yeah,
nothing.
and the company's not paying for their downtime. Yeah, I hope that is true, man, because I do think as a lifestyle, like basically the reason I got into freelancing at the get-go was because of lifestyle design, and I wanted to, be able to travel and be able to control my schedule. And I'm good with hitting deadlines. I'm good with like completing tasks, but I'm not good with sitting there
Yeah,
when there's nothing to do
yeah,
just because I feel guilty if I go home before 5 o'clock. That never made sense to me. So I think a lot of people from a lifestyle standpoint would benefit if the industry shifted to favor the gig economy.
yeah. And also, I think with the age of AI, it's gonna enhance more, because you and I, we are technician, like we are like geek. So we are interested in
Mm-hmm.
this because we're doing video, YouTube, you're doing editing. So we know what's going on for the most part, at least in the AI world. A lot of people they have no clue what's going on. Like,
True. Yeah.
like, they don't know all these AI tools. They don't know. It's not just go around. I was talking to some people I know last month, like, hey, do you know about ChatGPT? They say, what? Chat what? I like, where you been in the last year?
That's crazy, dude. Wow.
Yeah, you have a lot of people that they just wake up, do their life, they're doing their thing, but they are not really focused like us. I think this is gonna be more for people who who have skills, people who have skills or expertise, and that that's just the minority of the people, maybe 10, 20
Mm-hmm.
to 20% of the world population, something like that. But the other
Mm-hmm.
80%, 70%, they just it's like, if you look at the Apple, right? Like their last event,
Mm-hmm.
they never mentioned AI. Everybody knew that ChatGPT is here. I didn't see them talking about AI, because for them, I think they're doing it the right way. They know that everything's gonna be impacted by AI. So AI just gonna be natural thing. You just,
It's a given,
yes,
right?
as long as it works, you have your phone, you ask your phone what's gonna do, is giving you what you want. You don't care what's the details behind how it's doing,
Right.
what's the technology. Most people don't care about that.
I agree with you, man. Yeah, I think it's a big credit to them for not even mentioning it because
Yeah,
they don't feel like trend followers now.
yeah,
That's like the big thing at every keynote is like talking about AI. And they all say the same thing, which is like, it's going to be crazy and we're working on it. So it's
yeah,
like, all right, you don't even mention it if you're not going to say something new from a tech company standpoint.
yeah,
But I think to reinforce what you're saying about how it impacts the gig economy, the use cases that I've seen for it so far have been like really positive. So, for example, a good friend of mine is a full-time graphic designer. He's
yeah,
also freelance, and he will use AI to generate specific elements, but you know, it can't design a whole shirt. Like it could, but it would look like trash. But he's like, I want a shirt that's got a sword sticking in a stone like Excalibur. So he'll have a sword be generated and he'll have a stone be generated, but he assembles the images. He does like the typography work. He does like the color grading and all the toning. He basically gets to be a creative director instead of a task enforcer where he's doing each of the minute tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, if it stays on that trajectory, it would be really cool to see the gig economy respond, and people like you and me where, even like for your case directly, all those AI tools that will reclip your YouTube videos into like, vertical format and auto whatever, throw emojis and subtitles and everything. Like that gives you more time. It's not like a creative task that it's taking away from you. That's just like, oh, here's 2 hours of your time back.
Right. And again, just to your point, like a lot of people, I remember Steve Jobs saying that when he was building the Macintosh, one of his critiques was at that time when you buy a computer, they give you a huge book to read, just to use it. People just want plug and play. That's all they want. The majority of people. So it just you and me, because you're a freelancer, you're a skilled person. You're gonna be the person. You're gonna be one of the people benefiting of AI, because you're gonna be able to. I think I'm becoming also trying to be optimistic about it, because we're gonna get more jobs. Instead of doing maybe 10 jobs a month, you can do 20, 30, or 100 a month, because now AI is enhancing all your skills. Now you can get more done. And a lot of people, they just come, even businesses, they're like, hey, I just want to make a video. I want to make a commercial videos. I don't know the details. I don't want to know.
Exactly.
Just show me something that I like. That's it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. For the most part, people don't care how the sausage is made. You see it all the time in contracts where, like large scale contracts will contract, which gets subcontracted until there's some guy in Russia who's making, this one small graphic piece to send to an animator in Croatia to send over to your assembly team in California. So it's, I think it just hopefully, becomes one piece of the river and doesn't completely disrupt life as we know it. But
sure. I think we still have, of course, the danger of it, because it has to be safe. We need to have. It's going to impact a lot of jobs. So hopefully, like we're going to be ready to find ways to help people who are going to be impacted of that. Also, the safety side, and I know the United States is taking it very seriously, and a lot of people are talking about it, but you don't know about other countries, how other countries are going to do, what they're going to do with those AI. Are they going to behave well, or they're going to use it to target other people, So it's challenging, but in the positive side, I think it's going to enhance people who want to build stuff. They will be enhanced. Like someone who's a freelancer, who has kids, who want to make videos. These tools just going to make them better and better, because most people just want to have headaches. They just want to have a life, that things work. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. I hope the gig economy gonna be more, people can get more jobs in platform like Upwork, Fiverr, and hopefully other platform as well. But on another note, your personal life, you teach drums. So what other things you like to do to balance it out to if you want to work on your businesses or doing video production?
Yeah, man. I like to travel, so I do that a fair amount. I also do tour management for a couple of bands, which basically means I go on tour with them and just serve as a project manager whenever they're playing shows. So I make sure they get everywhere on time. I'm contacting the venues. I'm figuring out, like, where are we going to park in the city? And, where's the hotel? All that stuff, booking hotels, booking flights for everybody. So I do that usually a few times a year. And I play drums for 2 bands. So we actually just got back from the studio last week, wrapped up a new release that hopefully will be coming out towards the end of this year. Really, it's a lot of music stuff for the most part, and I enjoy working out, enjoy hanging out with my friends here in Indianapolis. So little bit of everything, but really, as long as it's like something new and exciting, I'm usually up for it. I kind of I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, that's great. And what you're doing with the drums, that's really cool. Like you're teaching that to kids. You're also playing for the bands. And yeah, that's great. You guys have your band, these bands, they have their own YouTube channel, right? And then
Yeah,
and then
yeah, we do.
you probably help them, in the video production later.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. For at least for the one band, I've directed and edited most of the music videos. And then yeah, I set the channels up and did all the back end for them. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And music
Thank you.
is very popular on YouTube. It's one of the
Yeah.
it does very well in YouTube.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's super interesting. Just like the role of it has shifted a lot since we started. We've been doing this for like 10 years at this point. So it's a little different than it was back in 2014, 2015. But yeah, even with like the addition of reels and things, or YouTube shorts, I suppose they're called, it's always a challenge, and there's always a learning curve of, they put out something and a month later something else is new, so trying to stay on top of what content they're preferring and how they're distributing things. So it is a little bit of a game. Like that's how I choose to view it, is you're gamifying reaching an audience.
Yeah, that's so good. So good what you're doing. And for someone out there having tough time, what advice do you have for people to build a successful life? Obviously, very successful in the freelancing side. You're building your own businesses, and you have, every year you have kids coming out from high school. They're looking at the world. They're trying to build a career. You have people getting laid off, or in general, people having tough times. So, what advice do you have for them to succeed in life?
I think if you're in the middle of a hard time, you do have a chance to view it as an opportunity, because the most dangerous thing is where you're just barely comfortable enough that you don't quit the job that you hate, and you don't leave the city that you hate, and you don't break up with the person that you really don't want to be in a relationship with, or whatever the case may be. So when you get fired from a job, or you get broken up with, or you have to leave town, whatever, it's a moment in time that's very rare, that you get to now choose what your new priorities are and how you're going to distribute your time in life. So, figure out the like 2 or 3 things that really, really matter to you. Like for some people, it is like, I have to live in New York City. Everything else doesn't matter. For some people, it is, I have to be self-employed. All the other stuff's details. For some people, it's a relationship, it's a job, it's a whatever. To figure out what's most important and figure out where your flexibility is with the other things, because life is a balance, of course. So, if you're going to put a lot of emphasis and a lot of attention in one area, it has to come from another area. So, taking stock in the moment, especially when you're having a tough time, sometimes it's a blessing in disguise, man. So, yeah, I would say just like constantly evaluate, am I the happiest I could be? And if not, like, what is better and how do I get there? Set a roadmap for yourself and try to treat those difficult times as a chance to sort of course correct.
I like that. Whatever happened to you is an opportunity. That's such great advice, because you turn something negative to something positive. So now you have an opportunity to find something else to reset the clock and then build yourself up doing what you love. A lot of people are having hard time. A lot of people are having, laid off. But I guess, you can build a profile on Upwork. So that's another solution we can give you in this episode. Build a profile
exactly,
and
man.
try to maybe find some extra income on Upwork, on the Fiverr, Upwork, even on LinkedIn. You can build a great LinkedIn profile. People can reach out to you. And if you're interested in YouTube, we talk a lot about it here, how to build a successful YouTube channel. But Paul, I really appreciate your time you giving me with my audience. This is a really valuable, a very valuable podcast. Thank you so much for being here, and hope to see you again next time.
Thanks so much, MD. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.